Hey everyone, so today we're going to discuss using inference mode, um, our flow forecast new kind of inference mode. So to do that, I've created a notebook. You might have already seen it. I think I posted it on our Twitter account. But here is essentially with this notebook, it shows how to we actually don't need that branch anymore since we merged the recent changes. How to do inference on kind of new data and incoming data. Um, so yeah, we're essentially going to briefly go over how to do that. So, first part is essentially the same as always. It's just run this stuff. Blackout screen again. Yeah, it's basically just get the token. Again, we're also working, I will say, on basically a library with fast API. I don't know if you're familiar with it. That will essentially act as a wrapper. The only reason I'm doing this in a notebook is because that's kind of what we did before. So and is just kind of good for a demo purposes. But obviously, you're going to probably turn this into an API in the end. So that's why I'm doing it here. Let's see. So So yeah, just running through this code right now, putting in the credentials and stuff. So yeah, again, this notebook's obviously primarily dependent on GCP and kind of our interaction with GCP and weights and biases. But obviously this would work for other setups too, though we don't have native integration right now for AWS. But we do hope to do that probably in the future sometime. But that's kind of the core of what we're doing here. So yeah, right now I'm just waiting for that to run. And yeah, so obviously if this was deployment, what you would do is you just supply these as kind of environment variables. So, one sec, stuff's still loading. So yeah, I don't know why it's taking so long, but should be basically done in a second. So yeah, just putting in the weights and biases stuff now. Yeah, and weights and biases, more I see it, the more it's playing a central role in our framework. So probably if you intend to use our framework, you really should register on weights and biases. It's not 100% required, but it's just such an integral part of a lot of what we do with this stuff now. So yeah, so basically what's going to happen when you go into inference mode is you're going to need to grab three things. You're going to need to grab your original config file and download it, and you're going to need either the files themselves or paths to where the files are if they're on GCP. Currently we only support this for GCP. And then essentially what you would need is then so these paths, and then if you want to log it to a different weights and biases project, you need a name of the project. So basically what this is here is all you have to do is, and we'll go for an interactive thing with this right now. Close before I forget to do that. But But what this is going to be is these are very easy to get from the weights and biases logs. So I'll show you how to do that quickly. Actually, we'll take one of our recently trained models and do this, which should be interesting. So what we can do is, let's go to weights and biases. I actually have some other processes running training a model right now. So we can pull one of these freshly trained models. That's not what I wanted. So yeah, so for instance, here's a model that just finished training. I have no idea how good it is. It looks like it wasn't great, but it kind of predicted flows for the river, but it wasn't great at predicting them. Obviously, I don't know why this is, but it predicted negative values in some places. It really shouldn't do that. But you know, you can see the confidence interval is fairly wide, and how it predicted still kind of follows what's essentially going on with this. In any case, we never really want to use this model, but just for the purposes of our demo, I'm going to show, but let's just say we want to say more robustly evaluate this, or actually use it for an inference mode. So what's going to happen is the weights, we're going to go and get these two things, which are these paths to the location, and this is very easy to do. So I'm just going to modify this with this. And we can copy the other one for model path. I know just intuitively too that like all these are kind of laid out in the same format, so the GCS path is going to be the same here. I'm not sure what stream this was just trained on, but this is going to be the stream name. And this third file would just correspond to like one of your whatever new CSV you want to forecast on. So in this case, it's actually not a new CSV, though we are going to forecast on different time steps in it. It's basically the same one. It's not the same one it was trained on. Well, it's the same one it was partially trained on, but it wasn't trained on the most recent data. So actually more recent river data is just appended to the end of this. If we go back to our weights and biases thing, we can see, I think, training data stopped around row 37,000 or something. So any row after 37,000 is test data. But this could obviously be an entirely new CSV file, though it would have to be in basically the same format as the one you used for training for the most part, with the exception of obviously the predictions there. So in any case, that's kind of what the file looks like. So what we're going to do now is going to do some more kind of robust evaluation on this. And what we do is we now use this inference mode class here. Free36 is kind of what we were using before. We basically usually want to forecast 2 weeks into the future, which is 336 hours. This second parameter is the number of prediction samples. So that's how many things it will generate in the confidence interval. Again, you could choose to do the same as you were doing here. I think here we were doing maybe 20 prediction samples, so you could either go wider or more or less. Config tests, and these are just the paths, and then this is just the weights and biases project we want to log this to. So like here we want to call it something called river inference. You could really call it anything, or you could even use an other project. Or did I already have something? I think I already had a project I was logging stuff to. But in any case, yeah. So yeah, I'll just call it river actually. So yeah, let's get that running. So let's see. Should download as expected, I hope. So yeah, we actually, if you look at our code base too, we reuse a lot of our existing code. So it does the exact same types of operations on it. I'll just clear this output so it's not in the way. So first, let's just plot on, I guess, what we saw before, to make sure the model plots properly. Oh wait, where did this thing go? So this is the same thing we plotted on or wait, no, this might be something different now. This is something different. So yeah, that's fine too. So yeah, so before I think we were plotting, the plot was from 2018, 5:30 to some other time. So let's see, like, let's say we want to now look maybe how well the model does in, say, August. In August or September, maybe September, to see how well it does in the fall. So we could do something like here for the date time start and plotting, and this should log there. So so we'll wait. So here again, this is making use of weights and biases for kind of this robust plotting in inference. Obviously, if this was in actual inference mode, we wouldn't have the real values. What we're doing here is more robust evaluation, I guess. But this still works. So like if you have the column, in this case CFS is our target. CFS still needs to be in the data frame, obviously, because you still need those historical ones that are then fed in to make the future prediction. But then like if CFS had, say, like a bunch of zeros, because we don't know the data from then on, it would just plot the zeros as the second line. So this will work too, even for real predictions. But here we're just kind of seeing how it evaluates and stuff. So let's see. This should have called the weights and bias. Oh wait, I think I lost the weights and biases session. But yeah, we should see a project. I think if the project doesn't exist, it creates it automatically, called River. And then here is the run. So these are automatically date time stamped. So this looks like I guess what predictions is. Yeah, we can see it has a pretty wide confidence interval. For some reason, this model, for whatever reason, likes to predict negative values. It might be a case for like using a soft plus or something, so this doesn't happen. Well, not soft plus, but having like a positive, maybe a sigmoid output, because we wouldn't want this to predict these values negatively. But in any case, that's kind of what the inference mode looks like and how you would use it. And again, we'll see the confidence interval, and then the actual. As I said before, obviously, if you don't have the actual, what you then just see, you wouldn't see this orange line at all. But the code is robust, so it will work essentially either way. Which is good. So, yeah, in the future we might enhance these graphs a bit, so you'd also see like more of the historic, because you don't really see the historic, so you don't see if it's like a clean continuation of the trend. But yeah, that's kind of which in this case I don't think it is. But that's kind of how it looks. Again, like what you can do too is you can automatically save these predictions to different places as well. This is just our generate plot function. So like you can also enter this parameter called save name, which is then will save the predictions to a CSV file, which then you can use on your own. So like I would then do just like preds.csv. Let's slightly change the date time, maybe to like maybe sometime actually in April when the river would be flowing a bit more. Okay, so let's do that, and this should output to this preds.csv as well. We'll give it a new plot ID too, and yeah, we should hopefully see that, and these will also all appear on the same screen, so we should just be able to see the plot there. So let's do that. Okay, so it did that. Um, for let's good time's sake, let's do maybe one more. I'm not labeling these in any cognizant order. But yeah, let's maybe try 5, 1 or something. Just see that. And then preds 2. And yeah, we should get the 2 preds files here when we're done with this. So let's see, flow forecast. Preds. So yeah, I think we're in this directory. Let's look here. Well, let's check plots first. We should see 2 plots. More plots pop up. Could be taking a second to get that next one. Let's see. It should be coming up. Second. We'll just wait a second for that. Sometimes weights and biases does take a while. Wait. Oh crap. Now I got in a weird directory. But yeah, there should be, the point is we should see those files somewhere. So we get some data. Experiments. But you were away. So yeah, one sec. So yeah, here's kind of the different predictions. It's a very wide confidence interval. But yeah, so that's kind of how that logs. I don't know where the files are saving at this point, but so yeah, that's kind of the core of how to use the inference mode. So